Sean with American Printing Services. I am a printing service, not a printer. So what that means is, as a broker, I partner with about 3,200 plants across the United States, Canada, and I just found out we have plants in Mexico. Did not know that until I got product and I saw it come where it was coming from. I also have, my wife is from Taiwan, so we have connections in Taiwan, which means we can get product here without the embargo issues that were happening in the past. I don't know if they're still happening. And a lot of our Canadian people actually broker this stuff through China, Malaysia, Indonesia, and bring it in through Canada, also to avoid that. I hope the FBI isn't listening to this. But as a print broker, what I can do is I'm like your liaison between production, shipping, art department. Pretty much people call me and say, hey, this is what I need. I'll give you an example. A woman called me this morning from a company called Bloomable. They're out of Colorado. It's a CDB place, and they're looking to set up shop here in Florida and bring all their products down here. So she needs event stuff. She needs tents, flags, throws, everything to do with events and promo products and stuff like that. But then she also needs brochures that have a Florida address, and she needs all this stuff, and it all has to be ready in a month. And she's panicking because, you know, time goes by really, really fast. So she's trying to find all these different sources for stuff. And I told her to sit down, relax, let's have a conversation. And I'm able to help her not only provide this event stuff, but also get her some artwork done. If she doesn't have vector art, I have teams that I work with in 3 or 4 different locations across the United States. They give me stuff. I send it to them. They're really inexpensive. They can convert it to vector art and we can put it on your product. Things like Tina had given me her logo a while back, and it worked great on a little sign, but we needed to do something bigger, and I wasn't sure if she had vector art, so I actually had it priced out. She was able to come back with some vector art, so she didn't have to pay that price, but that's great. I wanted to make sure we had a backup just in case she didn't have that vector art. So my team was willing to jump on that and get it in 2 days. They could take a logo, create it in vector, get it back to me, and do it under $50, which is just stupidly unheard of. So, so this woman from Colorado now has pretty much everything she needs to pop up her tent, put up her flags, and present her stuff without having the stress of going to all these different vendors and making sure she has the right artwork size for this and for that. I offer her layout for free on all of her stuff. She gives me the graphics and the information, and I put it in the templates. And that also helps them a little bit because, again, most of the time somebody don't want to go to a graphic designer for a brochure. They'll pay $250, $300 for this graphic designer. And when they bring it to me, because they're using me for the printing, I give them that layout, as long as they give me the graphics, mind you, because if I have to set the graphics or create the graphics, that's time, that's different. So I can do the layout, and you know, usually I do 2. If you could ask Tina, I do 2 or 3 different versions of something, and give them the option because they might have an idea in their head, and of course, as the artist, I have an idea in my head, and if I give you 2 or 3 different ideas, whatever's in your head might go, wow, wait a minute, there's other options out there. So I try to offer my customers, you know, not just here's your stuff. Try to offer them an experience so that they're 100% satisfied with the product. Also, as a broker, I have power over some of these plants that you as an individual wouldn't. Most of the plants that I deal with they go through distributors like me. But sometimes if you go to Vistaprint, now Vistaprint will throw stuff at you. They're not really a good example, but if you go to Vistaprint, you get something printed and you're just not happy with the quality. If it's business cards, there's no money in that. They'll throw you a new set of business cards and try to make it better. But if it's something a little bit more expensive, they might kind of say, well, you approved the proof, you did, you know, you ordered the product, you okayed everything. And so, you know, if you want to reorder it, we're going to charge you again. Well, when you come through me, if you're not happy with it, I mean, not happy with it, like if it really looks like garbage, I don't make you pay for your product. I go right up to production. I say, listen, I bring you 20 customers a year. I'm bringing you thousands of dollars of stuff. I want to keep bringing you stuff, but this customer's not happy. So what can we do to make this customer happy? Here's an example. I had a customer order a form last year, and she orders this form, and it's a continuous form. Yes, people still use these, the dot matrix printer, hammering away. The last page is a card stock, so that when they're done, they can give that card stock to the electrician who goes out on the road. Now, what they forgot to do at the plant was they forgot to glue this side of the form. So when it comes out of the printer and she rips off the right side and she goes to give this to her guys going out in the field, it all falls apart. Now, it was last year that she ordered these. Usually the right of refusal is 30 days. But I called this plant, who I've been dealing with for 20 years, and I said, listen, this customer ordered these last year. She just opened the first box because things slowed down because of COVID. And here's what's going on. And it's in my notes, it's in your notes, it's in everything that you were supposed to glue this side. And she's having a frustrating problem. I said, and you did 10,000 forms. What can we do to fix this? They called me back the next day and they said, we're going to rerun these for you because we want to make sure to keep your customer happy. I called my customer. She was just, I mean, I thought she was going to start crying. She was that frustrated over the fact that her guys were all giving her garbage. She has 12 guys on her run. They're all giving her crap because their form doesn't stay together. And she's got to staple it. The staple gets caught in something. The yellow copy goes missing. And I was able to do that for her simply because I have that relationship with all of these vendors. If you were to go to that vendor, they might tell you, nah, you're one customer. It was a small order. We'll give you a discount on a box next time you order. But that doesn't fix your problem. You have no recourse with these people because you're one customer once a year. I bring them 10, 20, 30, 40 customers a year, and they want me to keep coming back. Another part of my business is that marketing your business to the world. One of my key words, and if you go to my website and everything, it's your business cards, whatever you're giving people, whatever you're showing, even your invoices when you're giving to somebody, sometimes that's the first thing that they see about your company. And you want to make sure that you give the most best impression possible because you want them to come back to you. So I try to make sure. Sometimes I've had customers come at me with some artwork for something, and I said to them, this is really kind of busy. There's a lot of stuff on here. What's your main message that you want to get out to these people? Because you can have a bigger piece of artwork, or you can have just your basic message here and push them to somewhere that has more information. But if you give them this, it might overwhelm them.
John, 2 minutes. She's wildly waving her fingers.
Okay. So you might have a specific message that you want to get to people, and I try to get to the bottom of that. I try to pick your brain, pick my customer's brain to make sure that they can I present them to the world. That's what I'm telling them. Let me present you to the world the way I know that the world would want to see you, because sometimes your idea isn't what's going on out in the markets today. I'm going to end it there because the next part of what I was going to say is longer than 2 minutes. So,
well, you've got time for questions, so you can choose questions.
Okay, we'll do questions.
Okay. Thanks, sweetie. Okay. So Sean, that was one of the questions I was going to ask you for the interview, but you've already answered it. What's the weirdest thing you've ever printed? We've got that out of the way.
I did a beach scene on a car one time for this guy from New Zealand. It was like a total beach scene down at the bottom underneath the windows. And then the back window was this dude surfing on a big wave. And at the bottom, it was zeromortgagecost.com. And that was this car, and he drove that thing around, and he had a surfboard on the top and everything. And that was pretty cool.
So you did a wrap for him.
It was a total wrap. He had a, oh shoot, I can't remember the kind of the car, but the car was a sandy color. So we just took the wrap and just really wrapped the whole car. And so you couldn't tell where the wraps ended and the car started because of the color.
Wow.
And yeah, and that was a big project, but the designing of it all was totally awesome.
I would imagine. Okay. How has not COVID shifted, well, maybe shifted, but how has it made it either easier or more difficult? And is it moving back to what qualified as normal prior to that?
Well, because I'm national, I did take a bit of a hit on a lot of my customers. The COVID did shut down a lot of my restaurants. And some of the restaurants haven't come back. So there was also a lot of other mom and pop shops that were deemed not necessary, I guess. And some of them came back, but not to the same level. What shifted was right before they shut everything down. I had just sunk a bunch of money into opening up the promotional product end of my wing. I got the website, I got joined PPAI, I did all. I mean, it was a bit of money, and then like literally a week after my orientation, and I got my certificate and everything, it shut down. They were like, the world's shutting down. And my wife saw this coming because she's from Taiwan, and her family said, listen, this is what's going on over here. And, so we were all stocked up with sanitizers and all this stuff before everybody. We had masks before anybody had masks. And then it hit, and I was like, crap, I just put out all this money and my business is going to tank because my printing end is going down. And now this promotional products that was going to supplement is, all these venues closed down. I had cancellations for tents and flags and all this stuff. And I kind of panicked a little bit. And, I'm a faithful guy. I have faith. And I think that sometimes God reminds me that I need to rely a little bit more on him instead of my own understanding. And
yes, he does that to all of us who believe in him. Yes.
Yeah. And so what happened was all of a sudden the promotional products distributors started shifting gear. It started producing personal protection equipment. Right. And sanitizers, and all these breweries are making sanitizer by the buckets. I mean, literally 5-gallon buckets. And I had places like City of Safety Harbor call me up and say, hey, we need 3,000 masks right now. We need this, and nobody could get masks, right? So I make a couple phone calls, and I got some people. I got them masks in 2 weeks instead of 8 weeks. I got them 5-gallon buckets of sanitizers with the pumps and the bottles, the little hand pump bottles. In a week's time. I got them the glass that goes up in front of there. All the stuff that has nothing to do with printing. It didn't have any printing on it whatsoever. The thermometers, those no-touch thermometers. I was able to get a gross of those out of Malaysia in record time.
So what you look? Okay, so because we don't have a lot of time, because I now have 98 questions in my head, but in terms of what did you learn from all that about who you are and who American Printing Services can be?
I learned that it's not always about what it is your company offers. It's about relationships with your customers and being that whatever they need kind of guy. I'm from New York, so the saying is, I got a guy, right? I got a guy. I know a guy. So I want to be that guy. And I don't want American Printing Services to be stuck in this little niche of, hey, we do printing, we put your logo on stuff. I have more customers like that have asked me for stuff that has nothing to do with printing, and I just happen to know every contact that in 20 years I've been doing this. So, I've learned that I don't need to be stuck in a niche.
Cool. What'd you learn about yourself?
That I'm actually a little bit more customer oriented than I thought. When I first took this job with the guy I was working for, I thought he wanted me to be a salesman, and I'm like, dude, I'm not a salesman. I'm a geek. I'm a computer nerd. I'm a graphics dude. This is what I do. And he kind of brought me out of my shell over 15 years of working with him, taking me to customers and stuff like that. And now I can sit down with a customer and I'm confident in what I know. And so I can talk to you confidently and stuff. But I was not a public speaker, and I'll tell you, the networking has kind of opened me up to more public speaking. It has nothing to do with the COVID stuff, but I feel more confident, much more confident now than I did when I first opened my business 3 years ago.
Well, I suggest for next time you speak, or even next time you do a 30-second commercial, mention the car wraps, because it's a great story. I mean, they're so fascinating. They're fascinating to me. I don't ever want to ruin my car, which is one reason I don't have a magnetic sign or whatever. Maybe it's a conversation for us to have, but car wraps are a great advertising, and I'd love to, sometimes show a picture of that car that you wrap.
I got to dig it out of my archives, because the company's no longer in business anymore. It was back in the 2008s, when everybody was buying a house. Hey, I have a part-time job, making $350 an hour, and here's a $200,000 house. You know, so when his company went away, that car went away, and I'm not sure I kept any of the pictures really.
But just the idea of it, because it was
It's-
sand colored and that.
It was
that-
neat. It
And
was
your face lit up when you were describing it. Yeah, so it's just
Yeah.
like, that's something that you do.
Well, it's the creative process that I really enjoy. I like being creative. Sometimes I had a guy want me to make coasters for his bar. You know, I gave him 11 versions. I stayed up till 1 o'clock in the morning doing this stuff because I was creating. You know, and it was fun. And he ended up picking the most boring one I made, like the first one with like his name on it, and that was it. And I was like, bro, this one is so cool. Anyway, I really enjoy the creative
Okay,
process.
so if people, so I don't know if that you heard, if you could pick one niche, one category for the rest of March that people watching, people listening later, what would be like just somebody you'd love to talk to or do some work for? A particular niche or a particular company, just, you know, something that would really like make you smile.
I can't really pick one because I
Okay.
really like helping the small businesses come back to life. I really like to, because I have a lot of corporate customers, I'm able to pass on a lot of the savings to those little small businesses, but I
Okay.
really work with charities. So I have a couple different charities, people helping children right now. I'm trying to get them printing. I partner with other businesses. If it's too expensive for me to donate the whole thing, then I'll go with other businesses. I say, listen, I got this group of charity people. They're trying to get this stuff. I want to get them their printing for free. Can you come in with me and, you know, collaborate with me on this? So I guess it would be with people who help the communities and the nonprofits that need printing, event stuff like that. I really like to work with them to get them at cost or for free so that they can spend their money on their mission instead of on their overhead.
Perfect. That's a great way to end it since I see Delaine's coming back. So, Sean, thanks. As people come back to our group live, for those of you on Facebook, you got to watch this. As people come back live, although I didn't see our 60-second mark, and it is 12:56, so maybe we're just going to fill the rest of the time. But you want to watch this interview. Okay, let's see. Since our timer, here they come. Okay. All right.